You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
Well, we are inching closer to the start of the 2025 college football season and inching closer to fall camp. As of this very moment, we still have not gotten LSU's fall camp practice schedule, but I'm very much anticipating practice starting by the end of this week. Once the calendar flips to August 1 on Friday, we should be looking at LSU hitting the practice field very soon, as they organize what days they'll be on the practice field. Of course, they'll have a couple of weeks of fall camp before they begin their 2 weeks of preparation for intently preparing for the Clemson Tigers. And so now that all of the media days are in the rearview mirror, a lot of times, as we often say, narratives kind of get shaped, either proved or disproved, confirmed or disconfirmed throughout talking season, or at least people feel like they have a better idea. What I often say, and you probably heard me say this at media days and beyond, is when you go to one of these events and you're local media, you know the team you cover deep. Like, I know everything there is to know about the 85 scholarship players on the LSU football team. What I have of the rest of the SEC was surface level knowledge of the rest of the league. You go to a media days and things like that, and what tends to happen is you get a deeper knowledge and understanding of the rest of the league, and by nature of the fact of the multiple media days, the rest of college football. And so sometimes we feel like we have ideas that are further shaped coming out of those media days events. And so it was a pretty appropriate time that the odds makers have begun updating point spreads for the college football season and some of the marquee games. And our friends over at DraftKings today have updated 5 point spreads. Now, if you're not a sports bettor, that's fine. I'm not encouraging you to sports bet if you don't want to do that. If you do sports bet, I'm not telling you which way you should place your money. You make up your own decision. The reason I like to talk about betting odds is because this is not a subjective opinion that someone is sharing. This isn't a national writer for Yahoo or CBS or ESPN sharing their opinion about who's going to win games and who's going to win a championship, or the media poll at SEC Media Days or fill-in-the-blank Media Days sharing who they think or what the order of finish is going to be. These are odds makers whose job is to create numbers on probability to generate dual-sided action. So they want to be as close to the number as possible to try to get people to bet on both sides of it. And then ultimately they'll adjust the number accordingly based on, which way money starts to come in to limit their liability. So I wanted to see what movement there was coming out of media days with the 5 games that they listed for LSU.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very Children's Hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar.
So we'll start with the opener. They have Clemson 3.5, meaning Clemson is a 3.5 point favorite over LSU in the season opener. I've told you before, I have no problem whatsoever with that. This game is at Clemson. If the shoe were on the other foot, you'd probably flip that to be a virtual pick'em, or LSU a favorite in the game if it was in Tiger Stadium. They have a fifth-year senior quarterback returning. They have a head coach that's won 2 national championships. They have arguably the best defensive line in college football. LSU's replacing 4 starters on the offensive line. It is a true road game. There's a lot. I get it. There's a lot of reasons. I'm not saying that Clemson is definitively going to win that game, but they should be favored and probably should win that game. But that number has held. It's been anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 throughout this offseason. It'll be interesting to see where that goes off. The other ones that are interesting to me is we have seen other movement. For example, LSU right now is a 5.5-point favorite over Florida. That number about a month ago, really in the beginning of June, was 6.5 to 7.5. So maybe a little more belief coming in on the Gators coming out of media days and out of the summer. I'm not so sure that I'm there. Y'all know how I feel about Florida. I think they're a 7-5 football team. They may be better than they were a year ago, but DJ Lagway statistically was almost identical to Michael Van Buren. And if you look at Florida and the schedule that they have to play this year, I mean, they are going to start the season very likely 2-0 because they're going to open up with Long Island and South Florida, 2 layups to get started. But then, again, it's not just who you play, but when and where you play them. After they open with Long Island and South Florida, Florida goes at LSU, at Miami, Texas, at Texas A&M. I think that at best is a 1-3 stretch for Florida. Could very well be an 0-4 stretch, and their season probably dismantled at that point. The other one I thought was fascinating, the one that has completely flipped. At the beginning of June, Ole Miss was a 2.5-point favorite. The number that DraftKings released today has LSU now a 2.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. That's completely flipped. So understand what we talked about. All throughout this talking season, Ole Miss returns 4 starters total. Remember, they were a very talented team a year ago, most talented roster they ever had in the history of that program, and everybody is gone. I mean, they lost Trey Harris, Walter Nolan, Princely Uman-Mielen, Chris Paul, Trey Amos. Go down the list. They lost all that talent from a year ago. They're starting offensive tackles. So a ton to replace, and even though that game's on the road, LSU is now a 2.5-point favorite, road favorite against Ole Miss. Texas A&M, that game has held. It was 5.5. It's still 5.5. I've told you I think A&M is my surprise team in the SEC for whatever that's worth. I don't necessarily know that they're a playoff team, but I think A&M could get to 9-3 in the regular season the way it shapes up. They have a returning quarterback in Marcel Reed, arguably the best offensive line certainly in the SEC, if not in the country. 3 very good running backs, and Mike Elko returns a ton on that defense from a season ago. That A&M team could be maybe the surprise team, so that number is held. The other one that they listed is Alabama. Now, that game was Bama 6.5 to 7.5. It's now Bama 5.5. So they're still more than a field goal favorite, 5.5-point favorites over LSU. But that was a touchdown, and now it's down to 5.5. And I don't need to repeat it again. Y'all know my feelings on Alabama, and I'm going to continue to say it throughout this offseason and throughout the entire season. I think they are a perpetual 9-3 football team under Kalen DeBoer. They are a team that has some residual talent from when Nick Saban was there. I think the majority of their talent this year is on the defensive side of the ball, which may help them. I do not think that Ryan Grubb coming in magically fixes the offense. And for an offense a year ago that was carried so often by Jalen Milroe because of his ability to make plays with his feet, that ability is now gone with Ty Simpson coming in. And if you're going to have a first-year starter in the SEC, you're going to have growing pains. It's just the nature of the beast in the Southeastern Conference. We saw it with Nussmeier a year ago. A guy who was a highly touted dude, waited his turn. His 4th year in college becomes the starter. And LSU went 8-4, despite the fact that he threw for 4,000 yards. So I think Bama is what they are, and we'll see by the time they get to November what the line is on that game. But it's an interesting opportunity just at these different benchmarks throughout the offseason. What do lines look like as soon as the regular season ends? What do they, when you start to look to the next season, then around spring football, then around this point, you have the beginning, you have the after spring football, and then now as you're getting into fall camps, how might these adjust? And we'll see once teams get into fall camps, we start to see reports in fall camps. Unfortunately, if there are injuries that could affect things, as we know more about all that, we'll continue to watch it evolve. But LSU, as it stands right now, the most significant line movement is that Ole Miss game, where Ole Miss at the beginning of June was about a field goal favorite at home. Now LSU a field goal favorite on the road. in Oxford as we're getting closer to the start of fall camps.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.